Alright, so before this video begins, I just wanted to give a little bit of a disclaimer and I guess a trigger warning, because this hands down is probably going to be the worst thing I really ever talk about here on the channel. This video is going to have mentions of sexual assault, trafficking, and other really terrible things. Now, besides that, when it comes down to today's allegations that we're going to be talking about in this video right here, like I said, these are allegations and we don't know 100% if they're true or not. So I highly recommend that you guys don't hop on anything like immediately and say that, oh, he did this, he did that, or say that the alleged victim is lying and doesn't have a case or something like that. Like personally, if I were you, I wouldn't hop on either side, but that's just me. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it.
What's up, boss? How you doing?
Yeah. What's good in the hood?
Just holding it down, trying to take care of business.
Keep it up, I'm a nigga. I think I'm gonna go to the nearest nudie bar and have a drink. Come on,
You want to be employed, don't you?
I enjoy destroying lives.
And this. I am no pervert.
Now, I think it's safe to say that I wasn't really expecting Vince McMahon to be in the news again, because if you guys happen to be unaware, recently, as of this week, Vince McMahon and The Rock rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange, because apparently The Rock is becoming a board member of TKO. If you guys are unfamiliar with TKO, it's essentially WWE's new parent company, in which they did a merger with the UFC. And yeah, like I said, I wasn't really expecting Vince McMahon to be back in the news, or frankly, to go #1 on trending. And at first, I was really confused about why he was trending again. And then when I found out what happened, I'll be honest here, I wasn't really shocked, but at the same time, what he has been accused of has to be the worst shit I've ever heard. Let's dive right down into it. A former employee of World Wrestling Entertainment sued Vince McMahon, the longtime chairman and CEO of WWE, in federal court on Thursday, accusing him of physical and emotional abuse, sex assault, and trafficking. Now, originally, this is not the first time I wanted to talk about this, and our guy here, Vince McMahon. I wanted to talk about him originally in 2022 when it had came out that he was being investigated by the WWE because he got caught paying $12 million in hush money to multiple women. And ever since that came out, as a wrestling fan, I have not looked at Vince the same way. And in my opinion, I think that he's a really shady individual. And I know saying this doesn't really matter, but I know he's really greedy too. And I feel like I could go on all day just saying, oh, he ruined the WWE and he needs to retire, but I'm not gonna do that. Just know that he's a billionaire scumbag. The lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in Connecticut alleges that Mr. McMahon, who was subject to an internal investigation in 2022 over allegations of misconduct, sexually exploited and trafficked the former employee Janelle Grant from 2019 to 2022. Another WWE executive, John Laurinaitis, hopefully I said that right, and the company itself are also named as defendants. Now, the fact that the whole company, WWE, happens to be named as a defendant in this, that most likely means that other people knew about this in the company, allegedly, and they were allegedly in on it. Now, I'm not saying everybody was in on this, but this could mean that more people were in on it, more than just Mr. McMahon and his fellow higher-ups. Mr. McMahon also pressured Ms. Grant to sign a non-disclosure agreement, the suit says, in which he agreed to pay her $3 million in exchange for not discussing their relationship. Now, I'm not too sure if this is just an allegation here or not, but if this did happen, and she signed a non-disclosure agreement while being pressured to keep this relationship private, like that's really concerning, despite the fact that we haven't gotten into the main allegations. The lawsuit seeks to void the non-disclosure agreement. It also seeks unspecified amounts in punitive damages and legal fees. Ann Callis, a lawyer for Ms. Grant, declined to comment on the suit on Thursday. Ms. Grant's complaint, which was previously reported by the Wall Street Journal, includes graphic depictions of sex acts, threats, and intimidation that she says she faced over several years as Mr. McMahon, 78, gained control over her professional and personal lives and wielded the power to abuse her psychologically and sexually. Now, for anybody who was curious on what the original allegations were and the original complaint, well, I'm going to show a video of what they were because I'm not too comfortable saying it out loud because that's how bad it is.
Grant, who worked there up until March 2022, says McMahon texted her, quote, "I'm the only one who owns you and controls who I want to expletive you." Grant's claims include sexual acts involving defecation, restraint, and aggressive use of sex toys, and that McMahon forced her to have sex with him and other men at the WWE headquarters in return for job security.
You do want to be employed, don't you?
Honestly, I don't even know what to say after that. Like, it's shocking, but is it really surprising? Not really. Now, at the same time, I wanted to say that these are like allegations right now, and we don't know 100% if this actually happened or not. So I'm not going to jump onto it. But if this happens to be true, like, man, what the fuck? This guy 100% deserves to be behind bars, but I don't think that they're going to do it. When Miss Grant met Mr. McMahon in 2019, the complaint says her parents had recently died and she was unemployed. Mutual friends suggested that she contact Mr. McMahon about a possible job at WWE. When the two met, Mr. McMahon greeted her wearing only his underwear, according to the complaint. Once again, if that's true, that's really fucking damning and really fucking weird. Like, where were you meeting? In his office or something? And he's just not wearing his pants? Like, what's going on here? Like, this is so weird. And when it comes down to it, I mean, if you know anything about Vince McMahon, like, the guy is a weirdo. He really is. And am I really surprised that something like this would happen? No, not really. But potentially that it did happen is just disgusting and disturbing. After promising her a position with power and a high salary within WWE, Mr. McMahon eventually offered Miss Grant an entry-level position on the company's legal staff in June 2019 in exchange for sex, according to the lawsuit. So yeah, essentially, if this is true, it looks like that Mr. McMahon could capitalize off this young female and the fact that she was unemployed and she recently lost her parents by giving her a really high-paying job in return for sex, essentially. And of course, she's gonna take it because, I mean, there's a lot of money involved and she had nowhere else to go at the time, allegedly. And if this is true, once again, lock him up. Miss Grant felt trapped in an impossible situation, the complaint says, submitting to McMahon's sexual demands or facing ruin. Once she was working at WWE's headquarters in Sanford, Connecticut, the abuse intensified, the lawsuit says. Mr. McMahon took nude photos of her and filmed them having sex, the complaint says. He showed the photos and videos to other employees and later used them to intimidate her into silence, according to the complaint. Again, that's really fucked up. And if he did do this, I hope really bad things happen to him. The relationship grew increasingly violent and coercive, according to the lawsuit. Mr. McMahon pressured Miss Grant into having sex with other people, the complaint says, including the other executive named as a defendant, Mr. Laurinaitis. In one episode described in the suit, Miss Grant says that Mr. McMahon and Mr. Laurinaitis locked her in an office and took turns R-wording her. Now, when it comes down to this, people have found it like weird that Miss Grant really didn't go to the authorities or anything when this did happen, allegedly. But it makes total sense after hearing about the non-disclosure agreement that they had, according to the suit, and maybe that's why now they're taking it up in civil court. And if this actually happens to be true, I hope that she can get some justice, she can get some money, he can potentially get investigated criminally, and he can get put behind bars, in which I don't really know if that's going to happen or not because he is a billionaire and things are a little bit different when it comes down to rich people. But again, if this is true, I want to see some sort of justice for this because this is really deplorable behavior. In 2022, Mr. McMahon told Miss Grant that his wife had learned of their relationship and that Miss Grant's time at WWE was at an end, the lawsuit says, and he began to pressure Miss Grant to sign a non-disclosure agreement to guarantee her silence. In exchange, Mr. McMahon promised her $3 million, the complaint says. He paid the first $1 million but failed to make further payments, according to the suit. But the sexual coercion continued into March 2022, 2 months after Mr. McMahon had signed the non-disclosure agreement, according to the complaint, which mentions Mr. McMahon's business negotiations with a person described in the complaint as WWE Superstar. To persuade the wrestler to sign a new contract with WWE, Mr. McMahon offered sex with Miss Grant as part of the deal, according to a screenshot of a text message included in the lawsuit. Now, for anybody who's wondering who this potential WWE Superstar was, who was allegedly offered sex with Miss Grant as a part of the deal, was actually at the time, allegedly, Vince McMahon was trying to get Brock Lesnar, a former UFC champion and WWE wrestler, to sign a new deal with the company. And yeah, that allegedly is who we're talking about. Miss Grant's lawsuit says that the abuse that she suffered at the hands of Mr. McMahon and others has caused debilitating post-traumatic stress and thoughts of suicide. When she was forced out of WWE, she obtained a job in the operations department of her apartment building. She lost that job, according to the lawsuit, because lingering trauma left her unable to leave her home for weeks at a time. Lawyers for Mr. McMahon could not be reached for comment on Thursday. WWE's parent company, TKO Group, said in a statement, Mr. McMahon does not control TKO, nor does he oversee the day-to-day operations of WWE. While this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Miss Grant's horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing this matter internally. So I guess, guys, there you have it. Very deplorable actions, if true, by Vince McMahon. And in my opinion, he should be put away for this. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. Do I want it to happen? If he did this, then yes. And I really wouldn't be surprised if he did do this, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. This is in civil court, so we will find out the truth. And when that does happen, I will keep you guys updated on that. And I will make another video. But for now, with all the information that was presented to you, you guys can start to form your own opinions on how you feel about this. And if you really want, you can take sides on this. Now, me personally, I'm not going to take sides. I'm going to sit on the fence because you never really know. And I'd rather not get it wrong. But anyways, with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap up the video right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you happen to enjoy this video, not the situation, but this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as it will help promote the video more in the algorithm. I just wanted to take a second here to thank my member. Thank you so much for being a member. Your support to the channel does mean the world to me. But anyways, my name is Breone, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.